Hi everyone and welcome to another flight review. Currently we're in the very early hours of the morning, but that is because I'm flying aboard Jetstar's new A321neo from here in Melbourne up to Sydney. The flight leaves at 6 am, so let's get checked in. Check-in for Jetstar is located at Terminal 4, and once you enter the terminal building, there are numerous self-check-in kiosks to check in for your flight. The kiosks are very simple to use and easy to navigate. With Jetstar, check-in opens 2 hours before departure and closes 40 minutes before departure. Since I'm travelling during school holiday times, the airport doesn't seem to be too busy at this hour. Once past security, you are greeted with a number of food outlets. However, since it is only 4:30 in the morning, around 70% of them were closed. Nonetheless, there are plenty of seating spaces. This Rex 737 will leave for Sydney at 7:30. The walk to the Jetstar gates is fairly long and can take up to 10 minutes, so be sure to give yourself plenty of time if you're flying with Jetstar. And FYI, I'm flying aboard JQ500 this morning, which is the first Jetstar flight to Sydney for today. As you can see, Jetstar operates out of gates 41 to 52. My gate today is gate 48, which is at the far side of the terminal. At this part of the terminal, there isn't much to see or do. However, there is a food and drink store to the left of the wall next to us, and unfortunately, there aren't many seating spaces either.
I'll get a bag.
Shortly through gate lounge 48. All passengers travelling through to Sydney Jetstar flight JQ500, please proceed to gate 48 in preparation for boarding.
There's a large number of Jetstar flights that leave at 6 am, so that might explain why it looks a bit crowded. This morning, our flight commenced boarding 5 minutes late.
Thank you, Francis.
Here is our aircraft for today. It is a 7-month-old Jetstar A321neo, registered as VHOFQ, being delivered to Jetstar in December of 2022. In fact, it was delivered on Christmas Day.
Thank you.
Place your smaller personal belongings.
Welcome aboard the Jetstar A321neo in an all-economy class layout. There are 232 seats in total, mainly in a 3-3 configuration, with my seat today being 8F. Jetstar uses the quite popular Recaro BL 3710 slimline seats, which are common across low-cost carriers nowadays. The seats are leather and orange stitching is found throughout the seat. Every seat has a tray table, which is able to slide backwards and forwards. I actually found it to be smaller than the ones used on Jetstar's newer A320s and A321s. Anyways, above the tray table is a device holder, which is a new feature only found on the Neos. This can actually come in handy for longer flights. Anyways, above that is your main seat pocket, which contains a safety information card, in-flight menu, and 2 air sickness bags. Below the tray table, there is a smaller seat pocket, which wasn't the greatest as items could fall out through the bottom. The seat offers a USB port, however there is no universal power socket and there is also no headrest on board, rather substituted by a softer feeling at the top of the seat. Lastly, the seat offers very minimal recline.
And only your larger bags, wheels first, into an overhead locker. If your seat is in an exit row or at a bulkhead, you will need to put all of your personal belongings into the overhead lockers.
We would like to extend a warm
and welcome aboard your Jetstar Flight 500 through to Sydney. As you're taking your seat, please ensure your hand luggage is stowed well under the seat in front of you or in the overhead lockers. We'll be away very soon, so in the meantime, sit back, relax. Once again, this is Flight 500 through to Sydney.
Armstrong's my name. On behalf of First Officer Paul Pechora, Cabin Manager Jade and the rest of the crew, I'd like to add my welcome on board Jetstar Flight 500 up to Sydney. Thanks for joining us nice and promptly this morning. We're just completing the last of our checks up here before we close the doors and be underway. Hopefully not much more than another 4 or 5 minutes. We'll be doing just that. Taking off to the north today, making some right turns to set track over Yea in the Goulburn Valley. I'll get back to you once we're airborne with some further flight details, including our arrival time and the weather in Sydney. For now, sit back, relax, we'll get going as soon as we can. Once again, welcome aboard.
Is now being closed. This is Flight 500 through to Sydney. Cabin crew, please prepare the cabin for departure. Flight time this morning is 1 hour and 2 minutes. Please ensure your mobile phones are now switched to flight mode or completely switched off.
Hello again. We want you to have a safe and enjoyable flight. So please listen closely while we take you through the safety requirements for our Airbus A321neo. Has 10 emergency exits, which we'll now show you. 2 at the front, you the paths to follow to these exits. If we need to leave the
We're pushing back 7 minutes late.
your personal items with you will slow you down. So please leave everything behind or remove any aircraft equipment unless authorized. You must comply with any instructions from our crew and any signs that you see on board. Smoking is not permitted anytime, anywhere on board the aircraft, including in the bathrooms. It's our pleasure to have you on board with us today, and we hope you have an enjoyable flight. Thanks for listening.
I'll now be dimming the main cabin lights. If you wish to continue reading, you'll find a light switch located in the panel above your head.
Another new feature only found on the Neo is the mood lighting. How good does it look? after departing 20 minutes late, light from the sun slowly began to come up above the horizon. Since Jetstar is a budget airline, they do not offer a complimentary meal service. However, there is an onboard menu to purchase any snacks, drinks, or light meals. However, you can pre-purchase a meal before your flight on the Jetstar app. Enjoy some unedited footage of the sun rising at 35,000 feet.
That some fruit, vegetables, plant materials, fish and uncooked fish products are restricted from entry into state and territories throughout Australia. These items must be placed into the quarantine bins as you enter the terminal building. Quarantine detector dogs operate in some terminals. Thank you. Please take a moment to look around you and in your seat pocket for any rubbish or items you won't be taking with you and hand them to one of the team members as they move through the cabin. Thank you.
Now here are some nerdy facts for you about the A321neo. Firstly, all A321neos are significantly quieter than the A320 and A321ceos that Jetstar operate. That is thanks to these CFM LEAP 1A engines, which reduce noise in the cabin by 50% and are overall 15% more fuel efficient than that on Jetstar's more older aircraft. As one of the maintenance members at Jetstar said, the aircraft is painted with a new lightweight paint system which actually reduces the general weight by 30%, which ultimately makes this aircraft a lot more fuel efficient. So overall, the Neo provides a great customer experience.
Please return to your seat and bring your seat back upright. Lower your armrest, open your window shade and stow your tray table. Place your belongings either under the seat in front of you or into an overhead locker. We ask that you take a moment to review the location of your nearest exits.
So to sum up, is the Jetstar A321neo anything to be excited about? Well, yes, because the aircraft offers so many more benefits from noise to efficiency to comfort. Anyways, the seats are well designed with a few new features which do come in handy, especially for longer flights. As I've already mentioned, the aircraft is a lot quieter once in the air and it has an overall clean and open vibe inside the cabin. On Jetstar's behalf, the crew were quite friendly, but they did seem slightly knocked out at this hour of the morning. However, they tried their best to serve us with a smile, and in the end, it worked out well. However, not all is rainbows and sunshine. I actually found the seats to be quite narrow, and I'm definitely not the biggest of people out there. And the seats could become quite uncomfortable, given that this aircraft does do flights that go up to 7 hours. But honestly, for a budget airline, this meets a good expectation and is definitely a comfortable and a cheap way of flying around Australia. For your information, I booked this flight 2 months prior and paid 82 Australian dollars for this one-way ticket from Melbourne to Sydney. Compare that to Virgin Australia, which was $109, Rex was $129, and Qantas was $149. I think it's safe to say that this is a good ass bargain. Anyways, I'll let you sit back and enjoy the arrival into Sydney.
time is 25 minutes past 7 a.m. Firstly, Jetstar would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land. We would also like to pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. This morning we'll be disembarking through the forward and rear doors. For those passengers disembarking through the rear door, please hold on to the handrails and follow the markings on the tarmac to the terminal building. Smoking is not permitted on the tarmac or throughout the terminal. If your mobile phones are within reach, you may now switch them off flight mode. On behalf of the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for choosing to fly with Jetstar. It's certainly been a pleasure having you all on board, and do look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you and good morning.
Cabin crew, disarm doors.
Until you're inside the terminal. Smoking, vaping and the use of e-cigarettes is not permitted.
Thank you. See you later.